Hey my glam girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea and today we are talking about 3 new products. One of them is more so new to me. The other 2 are actually new to the market. So number 1, we have the new to me product, the Urban Decay. This is the Face Bond Foundation. And then the other 2 products are actually kind of new to the market. We've got the new Makeup by Mario Loose Powder, along with the new Makeup Forever HD Blush and Glow Lighter Palette. So stay tuned for a demonstration of all 3 products, how I feel these products have worn throughout the day, because we have done a full day wear test, and then who I recommend these products for. Just as a tidbit, we're going to compare the Makeup by Mario Loose Powder to the LYS Beauty Loose Powder, which I've already done a full review of this one. And then I am a Makeup Forever fanatic, so we'll also be taking a very quick look at the other 4 face palettes from the brand and comparing the newest one to them. So stay tuned for all of that. But before we get into this video, I just want to say thank you so much for taking some time and spending it with me today. I truly do appreciate it. If you are new, I would love for you to click that subscribe button and join the Glam Girl Squad, because we'd love to have you. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for deciding to come back and support my channel. I really appreciate you guys just being on this journey with me, watching my videos, liking them, commenting down below, shopping through my links. Any type of support that you do choose to give me, I truly appreciate it, and I appreciate you. So let's get right into this video. Before I get started, I just want to remind you all that I will have all of these products linked down in the description box below. Remember, anytime you shop through those links, it does help to support my channel and feed this obsession of mine. So if you do decide to do so, I just want to say thank you in advance. So first, let's start off with the Urban Decay Face Bond Foundation. Now, the brand did send over these foundations. Thank you guys so much for doing so. And they sent over 2 shades, 26 and 27. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the foundation, let me give you a very brief summary. This does come in 40 shades. It does retail for $40, and we get a total of 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of product. Shade 26 is this shade here, and it's going to be for medium deep complexions with a warm peach undertone, whereas 27 is going to be for medium deep complexions with an olive undertone. I'll do a quick swatch of these on the back of my hand so you can see what they look like. I know I did a swatch on B-roll, but I can do it here too, so you know, we all know what it looks like. So the brand is marketing this foundation as being a lightweight waterproof foundation with skincare benefits of a serum and a self-setting powder. It's going to have a blurring effect on the skin. It's going to have medium coverage and then a matte finish. So it said that this foundation is marketed toward individuals who have normal combination and oily skin, and the highlighted ingredient in it is niacinamide. This is going to be clinically tested to improve the skin's texture after 4 weeks of use. This foundation is also geared toward being great for people with sensitive skin, as it's non-comedogenic, and it has 3% niacinamide to improve the feeling of skin's texture and minimize the appearance of redness, acne scars, blemishes, and pores. The self-setting powder within the formula is going to help to reduce shine for a blurring, natural matte, smudge-resistant finish. Okay, so let's get into some swatches really quickly. So this shade right here is shade 26. And then this shade right here is going to be shade 27. So shade 27 is going to be a better shade match for me. So that's what we used all over the face today. I ain't gonna hold you. This foundation is gorgeous. And I could tell that it had a very nice natural matte finish to it. I say natural matte because it doesn't look heavy. It does look and feel very lightweight on the skin. But you can tell just with the application of it onto the skin, like this is going to be a type of foundation that's going to lean more toward a matte finish. It felt good on the skin. It didn't feel heavy. And I was like, okay. I actually heard some kind of mixed reviews about this foundation. And so I didn't really have high expectations when I put it on, but I was like very shocked by how pretty this looked on the skin. I did set my face with powder, obviously, because we're talking about a powder, but I could definitely see me not setting this in future uses when I wear it, especially if I'm wearing it on a day where like I don't need for it to last all day. I just want to throw something on the skin that's gonna like perfect the skin and do what it needs to do. I have more normal skin. I could for sure see myself not having to set this. In terms of it helping to reduce redness, I have like a red patch right here, and I felt like it covered that very well. I like the undertone of this particular foundation. I think it looks really nice against the skin. And upon initial application, I think it looked so flawless on the skin, but also very natural. So I didn't feel like my skin looked like I was wearing a ton of makeup, even though it gave me really good coverage. But it looked like very natural on the skin. Now, we've had this face on for 12 hours, so coming in close, we can definitely see in the center of my face that I do have some like dewiness going on, but I don't feel like I look like excessively oily. I also don't feel like my skin feels like it's suffocated underneath the foundation, because sometimes, not sometimes, anytime I wear a foundation that is too matte for my skin, and what I mean by too matte, I feel like it dries the skin out. That's when I produce a lot of oils, and I feel like I look very oily versus just looking dewy. There's a difference to me. Because when I look dewy, like how I'm looking now, I feel like, okay, if I blot, I can keep this face on. The foundation doesn't look like it's breaking up. It just looks like my natural oils have come through, versus when I feel like I look very oily because my skin feels suffocated underneath the foundation is breaking apart, and when we go to touch up, it does not touch up well. So we are going to touch up. We're going to see how this touches up, because if it doesn't touch up well, then I'm going to have to take back everything I just said. But I feel like it's going to touch up really well. Like, this looks so pretty. I am quite impressed by this foundation. I ain't gonna hold you. I would agree with the claims that I feel that this foundation will probably work best for people with normal combination oily skin. I feel like if you have dry skin, this may not be hydrating enough. I could also see someone with dry skin feeling like it's just too dry for their skin type. I don't know if this would accentuate texture, because the texture that I have along my face here is not accentuated. I feel like it didn't cling to the dry area right here. But I also don't have really dry skin either. So I would say if you had dry skin, if you had like regular dry skin, so like your skin's not really flaky, it just is a little drier, then I would say if you go in with like a hydrating primer, probably set with like a hydrating mist, I think you could enjoy this. If you have like really dry skin, I don't know if this is going to be the foundation you would want to try, just because it might kind of sit on top of your dry skin and look more like makeup versus like kind of seeping into the skin and looking like skin. So that would be my suggestion for skin type. If you have oily skin, I think definitely for sure go in with your mattifying primer, set with your powder, but I think you could really, really enjoy it. The creator, Samantha Jane, loves this foundation, and she has very oily skin, and she's like, it's the best thing ever. So I know, at least from her review, if you have oily skin, you would enjoy it. Same if you have combination skin. So very, very, very happy with this. This particular shade is too like golden for me, so I can't wear this shade, but this shade 27, surefire winner. Okay, let's get into the powders real quick, and then we're gonna touch up this face to see how the foundation touches up after 12 hours of wear. Next, we're gonna talk about the makeup by Mario. This is the Surreal Skin Talc Free Soft Blur Setting Powder. It does retail for $38. It comes in 7 shades, and we get a total of 0.53 ounces or 15 grams of product. I picked up shade 3 Neutral Peach, and the brand is going to describe this powder as a talc-free pro performance loose powder that sets makeup up to 12 hours, blurs and smooths the complexion with a natural finish and an all-day shine control. Highlighted ingredients, we're gonna have a light diffusing spherical powders and smoothing amino acids. This is gonna help to blur lines and pores. Kaolin, which is gonna help with all-day shine control, and then squalene, which is known to nourish the skin. It says Mario curated this weightless powder with enhancing and brightening tones to build in soft layers for his signature soft set look. The powder is gonna control shine without making the skin look or feel dry for a blurred natural finish. It is non-comedogenic and non-cakey without photo flashback. So I went in today and I pretty much set my whole face with this powder, and off of first impression, I really like this powder. So something that, if you've heard me say this before, then you've heard me say this before. If you have not heard me say it before, then you are gonna hear it for the first time. So the celebrity makeup artist, Sir John, this has never left me because I just feel like whatever he says is gold for me. I love his artistry style, and I also just love him as a person. I would love to meet Sir John one day. He just seems like the type of person I would vibe very well with. Anywho, so Sir John said that for powders that you would wear under your eyes, since the skin there is so delicate, you want to make sure it is the most lightweight powder ever. One of the ways to test your powder to see if it's light enough for the skin there is to blow on your powder and see if the powder particles float. If those particles float, it is a-okay to use along this area because it's not going to be too heavy to accentuate your wrinkles, drag the skin down, and all the things. If you blow on it and that powder sinks, don't put that under here. Or if you must use it, like use the most small amount. Okay, so I did this test earlier, but I'm gonna do it with you all so you can see. And this powder passed. So here we go. Getting kind of close so you can see. Look at that. That powder just floated right on up. It did not sink at all. So that is my go-to. When I get a loose powder, that's the first thing I do because then it lets me know what I'm working with and what we need to be doing. So I'm going to take my Danessa Myricks Powder Puff. What I did today, and you probably already saw it in the B-roll, I took it, then I pressed out the excess powder so I wouldn't put too much powder under my eyes. And then we went and we set this under eye area. Now, this powder is lightweight for sure, but this powder gives coverage as well. Like, I was quite shocked with the coverage that we got because I was thinking this is lightweight. I didn't think that even though we have shades of this powder, I wasn't expecting this to give me coverage. I'm just dipping back in, but look at that. First off, look at how this foundation touched up. Your girl touched up really nicely, but also look how just beautiful and flawless this is. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Mario did something with his powder. So look at this side of the face. I love that when you come up close, even though you can see that my skin is more mattified, I don't feel like my skin looks dry or lifeless or like really flat. Like, we look nice, we look very smooth, we look quite poreless. Pores, where are you? And I'm here for it. I am here for it, especially going into these cooler months. I don't know about you, but when we get into the cooler months, I like to wear more like soft matte finishes to the skin. Like, it just, I don't know, it's something like, I guess it's cool weather, soft matte skin versus like warm weather, I want more dewy skin. But I like this powder. I really do like this powder. And I feel like it is definitely light enough to apply under the eyes without weighing the skin down, but it also can set the face very nicely. This is not, I guess it depends on how much you apply as to how long it will set the skin. Like how you saw, you know, after 13 hours, you can see how the foundation that I wore looks like. But as you saw from my application, I did not use a lot of powder. So if you were to bake with this powder, I could definitely see this powder setting the skin longer compared to just using like kind of what I did, like a very light layer of powder. Now let's get into this LYS Beauty powder. I've already done a review, like a full review on this powder. I absolutely love it and adore it, and it's been my powder of choice. When did I get this? The brand sent it to me, I want to say they sent it to me in July. So like, this powder has been the one that I've been using. They sent over the pink shade, and then they also sent over the shade called Independent, which is the tan shade. Just to quickly review it, this powder does retail for $24. and it comes in 2 shades. There are more shades on the LYS Beauty website. I'm reading off Sephora, so that's where the 2 shades come from. So if you want my shade tan, you're gonna have to order it from the LYS Beauty website. I also do have a 20% off affiliate code with the brand, so I'll leave that link down below if you want to purchase it from their website and get 20% off. So we know that LYS Beauty is a clean beauty brand at Sephora. This is also a talc-free powder. It's microfine and it's supposed to smooth, blur, and set makeup with a natural matte finish. Natural matte airbrush finish, leaving the skin feeling hydrated and refreshed. So we're gonna go in with the LYS Beauty powder. This one is going to be a little bit deeper in its tone. So when we set this under eye, don't be surprised if it looks a little deeper. Sorry for the loud noise. I'm gonna use the same sponge and we'll just flip it onto the clean side. And we're gonna apply it the same way. So just taking this on the back of my hand. Oh, I forgot to do the powder test. So y'all can see if this is light enough. Hold on. So let's blow on the LYS Beauty powder. Hopefully you saw powder particles floated. All right, so we're gonna come in with LYS Beauty and we're gonna set the skin here. This powder, I have loved it. I love it because it has very beautiful blurring properties. It is also lightweight on the skin. And it sets the makeup as well. So both of these powders are claiming to do pretty much the same thing. The only difference is that the Makeup by Mario has light reflecting spherical. So this particular powder is supposed to project light off of the skin, whereas the LYS Beauty powder is not claiming to have those light reflecting powders or pigments within the powder. The LYS Beauty powder also does have niacinamide in it, as well as green tea extract and then sodium hyaluronate. Okay, so we've got LYS Beauty powder on this side of the face, over here, and then we have Makeup by Mario on this side. So you guys tell me which one you like better, the Makeup by Mario side. Hold on, get my hair out the way. Makeup by Mario side, or are we vibing for the LYS Beauty side? Now this is a hard one. Now this is, y'all are seeing my reaction real time. I have yet to compare these 2 powders on the face. So I'm looking at myself from a distance. Ooh, I don't know. Okay, let me just call out what I see. I like to look at my face from a distance to see like what things are looking like. Number 1, looking at myself from a distance, we get more coverage from the Mario side. Well, the powder, the Mario powder, compared to the LYS Beauty powder. Now, I'm not saying we can't build coverage with the LYS Beauty powder, and I'm actually gonna attempt to do that. Let's try to add more coverage. Let's see if we can build the coverage, because I feel like we have a little less coverage here. That's where I'm seeing more coverage. So let's see, can we build coverage? So, okay, so we can build coverage with the LYS Beauty powder. I feel like we've got similar amount of coverage on the skin. So I do see more light reflection on the Makeup by Mario side. And I'm not even like necessarily looking at my blush, because my blush does have reflection to it. But just looking at it, I feel like we do get a little bit more light reflection on the Makeup by Mario side compared to the LYS Beauty side. However, that lipstick on my tooth, sorry. However, in terms of just like blurred pores, ooh, it might have to go to LYS Beauty just because we're getting that soft matte finish on the skin without any reflective particles. The Makeup by Mario, let me just check. I'm like putting it on the back of my hand just to see if we see any like glitter particles. And no, so there's no glitter particles. There's no like reflecting pigments that you can see with the naked eye in the Makeup by Mario powder, which is good because I didn't really like the Makeup by Mario concealer because I felt like it was just way too brightening, which I have right here. And I felt like, yeah, it was a little like too synthetic for me, the brightening effect of the concealer. So I think the powder is just a very beautiful, soft, matte type of powder. Yeah, I don't know. I need help because I see beauty in both. Like, I feel like the Makeup by Mario powder would be one that I could use. I was about to say I could use it on an everyday basis, but I can also use the LYS Beauty powder on an everyday basis if I just go in with less powder. Because initially, before I added that second layer of powder on this side, I felt like we got more coverage from Makeup by Mario. I don't know. I need y'all to tell me which powder you guys like better. But y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and recommend both. I think both powders are really beautiful. They both last all day long. I mean, I think it just really comes down to preference in terms of maybe tone of powder and how you like it on your skin. But I think they're both beautiful. Neither one feels heavy or dry on the skin. The Makeup by Mario powder was really comfortable to wear throughout the day. And yeah, I think they're just beautiful. I think just off of the performance of the LYS Beauty one, I would say that this probably gives me more longevity of like a more matte looking face throughout the day compared to the Makeup by Mario. But they're both stunning and beautiful powders, and I recommend both. I can't even tell you. I can't even hold y'all. They're both really beautiful powders. Okay, lastly, let's get into the Makeup Forever. This is the HD Skin Blush and Glow Palette. Now, last year, they sent over their HD Skin Face Essentials palette, and I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna absolutely love this one. We've got beautiful blush tones over here, and we've got shades over here that we can use as concealers, foundations, bronzers, contour, all the thing, right? These blushes over here, though, have more of a sheer pigmentation to them. It's buildable, but they're just a little more sheer. And so I was more so disappointed because, number one, I wanted more pigmentation from these blush shades. And then two, I also felt like when put against my complexion, we weren't seeing a lot of distinction between the shades. So even though we were getting 6 shades, I felt like it may have only looked like 3 different shades when put on my skin. So as much as I liked this palette for the complexion tones, the blush tones were a disappointment. And just for the record, Makeup Forever sent me 4 out of the 5 face palettes that I have. The one that I purchased myself was this one. All right, so when I saw that they came out with this one, the Blush and Glow one, I said, now, Makeup Forever, you're looking like this could be giving me what I want. And I want to say, I absolutely love this one. These blush tones are giving me exactly what I wanted from the palette that came out last year. So let me do some very quick swatches so you can see what they look like on my skin. This formulation is really beautiful, creamy, buildable. And something else that I really like about this palette is that for the tones that could be used as blushes, we're actually seeing like differentiation of tones. So these are all of the shades that can be used as blushes depending on your complexion. And just holding up the palette so you can see what they're looking like. Let's do it this way so we can focus in on the blush tones. I love that we can actually see a difference in the tones of the blushes instead of it looking like maybe 3 different tones based on my complexion. The shades here are gonna have more of a matte formula. When I say matte, obviously the formula is not completely dry and matte, but there's no shimmer in it, versus these tones right here have some shimmer in it. So we're gonna get glow from the blush tones. I can use these as blushes as well. If you are lighter than me, you would use them as blushes. And then if you're deeper than me, these 2 shades right here might end up being highlighter shades or blush topper shades for you. Now getting into the glow shades over here is very interesting because it's more of like a dewy, glossy formula versus like your traditional highlighter formula. And of the 6 glow shades, there are 2 different formulas of them. So, ooh, I don't normally swatch on this hand, and now I didn't do it right. I'll just insert some footage then of these so I can make sure that y'all looking at them as best as possible. But these glow shades right here are going to be more like your traditional kind of dewy highlighter, if you will. But what's great about the formulation is that it's not sticky. It doesn't pick up any powder that you have put down first, because when I applied these on my face today, I had already powdered my face with the Makeup by Mario powder. It didn't lift the powder, it didn't lift my foundation or anything. And I applied them with my finger, and it applied beautifully to the skin. So these shades right here are more, they're giving more of like a cream highlighter, but not super emollient. Because when I think emollient, I think like too glossy and almost wet to where it would maybe lift up a powder underneath it. They're not like that. They're like a almost like cream to powder without the powdery effect, if that makes sense. So they're not too wet, but they're very soft, and they leave a nice shine to the skin. And this one, I don't know what this formulation is in terms of like, let me look it up real quick, because it reminds me of the Fenty Beauty, the Diamond Balm. It kind of gives me the same vibe as the Diamond Balm highlighter from Fenty Beauty, in that it's like just this beautiful pearlescent shimmer that has no pigment to it. So no matter how deep your complexion is, you're gonna be able to wear this shade here and it's going to look stunning. You hear me? Stunning. Oh, I didn't tell you any details about this. This retails for $88. You can get it from Sephora or the Makeup Forever website. And it says this is an easy to use cream palette with universal and customizable blush and highlighter shades that can be layered for endless, glowy, and colorful looks. So this shade here is described as a shimmering pearl. But it is so beautiful. As a matter of fact, let's add it right here so you all can just see it in action. Look at that. That is so pretty, especially for the upcoming like wintry season. Oh, child, I'm so here for it. But yeah, this is giving Diamond Balm by Fenty Beauty in like the most gorgeous way. All right, we gotta even ourselves out. But I am so happy with this palette, and like I said, this is giving me the pigmentation that I wanted from last year's palette. And I just want to say thank you, Makeup Forever. Thank you. Highly, highly, highly recommend this. I think even if you have like deeper, richer complexions, because the formula is buildable and nice and rich, I think these shades would show up on deeper complexions as well. And then just depending on your depth of complexion would determine how you would use these shades. And I just think they're stunning. And like, even if, for instance, let's say you have more of a lighter complexion, I would even dare to say like light to fair, you could probably take this shade and mix it with one of these lighter tones to lighten it up so it would look better against your complexion. Because a shade like this might look too stark against a lighter complexion, especially if the complexion had more pink undertones, but you can mix it with these shades over here to make it adjust to your complexion better so you can wear the shade. Because that's another thing about these palettes that I love. They are made to be mixed and matched to customize to best fit your complexion. So keep that in mind too, that you know, you don't have to say, okay, these are only blush shades, so if I can't use it as a blush, I can't use it anywhere else. You can use it anywhere along the face and mix and match the tones so you can get the shades that work best for you. So highly, highly, highly recommend it. Just in case if you're like me and you're just like, I have multiples of these and I want to see if I have any repeats of shades. Here is the HD Skin Essentials palette. I want to say this one is from 2022. So let's just take a look at the 2 palettes here. Hold on, let me hold it this way so I'm not blocking any of the tones. So as you can see, there's definitely no major repetition of highlighter shades or blush shades in the palette. And then I'll hold up again the HD Skin Face Essentials palette from last year. So we can see what the palette is looking like, or the palettes are looking like. I'll show this one here. This was my first palette here. And as you can see, there's no repeats of shades in either palette. So if you're like me and you collect these, thank you to the brand for sending them to me. But if you're like me and you're like, I have multiples of these, and you were interested in this one because of the blush shades, I don't think you are repeating any of those shades at all. And I think you can get some very good use out of this palette. Because for me, my favorite is going to be this one, the one that came out last year. I love the complexion tones of this palette. So for me, I could just really carry these two. And I've got my full face right here if I wanted to travel with just their HD products. So highly recommend them. The complexion tones are stunning. And if you love the Makeup Forever HD foundation or just their HD line, I'm telling you, you would love any of these palettes, the complexion tones, and now the newer one with the blush tones and highlighter tones. For sure, fire, win-win. So guys, I hope that you all enjoyed this review of these products. Let me know your thoughts down below if you have these products, if you tried them, if you're interested in them. I would love to hear all of that down in the comment section below. And if you've made it to this point in the video and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad because we love to have you. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my very next video. Bye, guys.